Marcus, he's 29, works as a software engineer in Denver, texted me last week with a question that made me want to throw my phone across the room. Hey man, should I put my bonus in crypto or index funds? Marcus makes $140,000 a year. He's got $43,000 in his 401k, $8,000 in savings, and he's asking me to choose between two boxes to put his money in. That's not an investment philosophy. That's a coin flip with extra steps. Here's what I told him. And here's what I wish someone had told me when I was 29 and making the exact same mistake. I spent my 20s collecting investment opinions like Pokemon cards, buy and hold, value investing, growth stocks, real estate, crypto. I had a brokerage account that looked like a garage sale, a little of everything, a strategy for nothing. I thought diversification meant buying different things. I didn't realize I was diversifying my way into mediocrity. The problem isn't which investments you choose. The problem is you're thinking like a renter when you need to think like an owner. Let me show you what I mean. Quick test. Answer this honestly. When you get your paycheck, what's the first thing that happens to that money? If you're like 84% of Americans, it goes to bills. Rent, car payment, groceries, Netflix, insurance. You pay everyone else first, then invest whatever's left over. That's renter thinking. You're renting your life from other people. Now, here's how the top 1% think about the exact same paycheck. They pay themselves first. Before the landlord, before the car company, before anyone else gets a dime, they buy ownership stakes in businesses. Why? Because every dollar you spend on rent is gone forever. Every dollar you spend buying a piece of a business can compound for decades. I learned this lesson the expensive way in 2019. I was making $95,000 a year as a marketing consultant. Great salary, right? Except I was sending $2,800 a month to my landlord, $480 to my car payment, $150 to various subscriptions I forgot I had. I was generating wealth. Just not for me. My landlord took my $2,800 and bought more rental properties. Toyota took my $480 and invested in new factories. Netflix took my $150 and bought more content to keep me paying $150. I was a wealth creation machine for everyone except myself. That's when it hit me. I had the equation backwards. Here's the real investment philosophy that matters. There are only two types of people in the economy: people who own capital and people who work for people who own capital. Everything else is just noise. Your job pays you wages. Your investments pay you ownership returns. Wages are capped by your time and energy. Ownership returns are capped by how much capital you control. Think about Jeff Bezos for a second. In 1994, he was making maybe $60,000 a year as a hedge fund analyst. Nice job, but nothing special. Then he started Amazon. His wealth didn't come from working harder or getting promoted faster. It came from owning a piece of something that grew from $0 to $1.4 trillion in market value. That's not luck. That's the difference between selling your time and owning equity. Now here's where most people get this completely wrong. They think investment philosophy means picking the right stocks or timing the market perfectly. Wrong game entirely. The right game is this: maximize the percentage of your income that buys you ownership stakes in productive assets. Minimize the percentage that disappears into other people's pockets. Let me give you the framework I wish I'd had at 29. Every month, before you pay rent, before you buy groceries, before you do anything else, move 20% of your gross income into assets you own. Stocks, real estate, your own business, doesn't matter. What matters is you own a piece of something that can grow in value. But I can't afford that, you're thinking. I have bills. Here's the thing nobody tells you. You can't afford not to do this. Let's run the numbers. Say you make $80,000 a year. If you save 20%, $16,000 annually, and invest it at a conservative 8% return, you'll have $1.86 million after 30 years. If you save the responsible 10% that everyone recommends, you'll have $896,000. That's a $964,000 difference, nearly $1 million. For what? for making ownership your first priority instead of your last. But here's the psychological trap that keeps people broke. Paying bills feels responsible. Buying stocks feels risky. Your brain has it backwards. Paying bills is giving your money to people who already have capital. Buying ownership stakes is joining them. Which one sounds riskier now? I made the switch in January 2020. I automated a transfer that moved $200 from every paycheck into my brokerage account before I could spend it on anything else. Some months I had to get creative with groceries. Some months I ate ramen. But you know what happened? I stopped being a renter and became an owner. 3 years later, my investment account generates more passive income per month than I used to make from my job. That's not because I'm smarter than everyone else or because I picked amazing stocks. It's because I flipped the equation. Instead of paying everyone else first and investing the leftovers, I paid my future self first and figured out the rest. Now, this approach isn't for everyone. If you're someone who's comfortable trading your time for money forever, if you like the predictability of a steady paycheck and don't mind working until you're 67, you can ignore everything I just said. But if you're someone who wants to own your time instead of selling it by the hour, if you want compound interest working for you instead of against you, then you need to make this mental shift. Your investment philosophy isn't about which funds to buy or whether crypto is a bubble. Your investment philosophy is about which side of the capital equation you want to be on. Tonight, before you go to bed, log into your bank account and set up an automatic transfer. Pick a number that makes you slightly uncomfortable, 15%, 20%, whatever you can handle, and automate it to move into a brokerage account the day your paycheck hits. That's it. That's your entire investment philosophy. Pay yourself first, then figure out the rest.